everyone, and welcome to the National University Podcast. My name is Samantha Wilcox, and I am your host for today's talk. Joining us is Dr. Andy Riggle, Associate Vice President in the Office of Graduate Studies at National University. Dr. Riggle, among his other responsibilities, oversees Dissertation Boot Camp at NU. Dissertation Boot Camp is an optional 2.5-day intensive for students in our doctoral programs. Faculty work alongside students individually and in cohorts, providing the tools necessary to finish their dissertation, dive deep into process and expectations, and help students gain the confidence and drive necessary to complete their doctoral journey. Dr. Riggle will be talking with NU graduate, Dr. Mary Duggan. Thanks so much for being here with us today, Mary.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Let's jump in. Dr. Riggle, I'll pass the baton to you.
Hey, Mary, so glad to see you again, and again, so proud of your accomplishments and becoming an official doctor. Can't tell you how proud we are of you and congratulate you on your super accomplishment. So want to ask you a few questions today about your doctoral experience. And I kind of want to start kind of basic. So looking back, what were some of the reasons why you decided to actually complete your doctorate?
Well, I had both personal and professional reasons for doing it. Professionally, I wanted to move a little bit more forward in my career. And I also saw a need that started actually personally with my children, specifically my daughter. My daughter had a sensory processing disorder, and I was told in 5th grade, be happy if she finished 12th grade. And I was frustrated with that. And then I started thinking, what if I'm that parent that says, you're the expert, okay, I'm going to listen to you, wash my hands of it, and my daughter will be what she can be. But I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. So we had a long struggle, but she did finish high school. She finished 4th out of almost 200 students.
Wow.
And she got a full ride to a private Catholic college that was about $50,000 a year. And she finished
Excellent.
with just over a 3. So right then, while I was in school, I had found a program for her, and that worked really well, but there's got to be more. There's got to be more. This can't be the only thing in such a large metropolitan area that can help these students that are capable of going to college, but just need that little bit more than what they're going to get from ADA and the Rehabilitation Act. So I ended up looking for programs. I did about 3 years of research before I finally settled on what was then North Central University. And I was able to use the general doctoral of education program. So I could tweak it to what I wanted, because unfortunately the special ed program really focused on K-12, and I wanted to work at the college level. So I was able to take all the courses from that program, a few from curriculum, a few from general ed, and kind of meshed and made a program that really worked for the path I wanted to take. And I think that is what was the deciding factor of saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to try this major thing and put the money into it, the time into it, the work and everything. And I couldn't have been more pleased with the way the program was, the support that I got, and I knew my choice was the right one, probably about my 3rd class in at the most. So,
wow, that's excellent news. I'm really happy to hear about your daughter, Mary. I think I remember some of that information that you shared about your daughter at boot camp, but it sounds like she's going to get that the support and go on to do great things like her mom.
I hope so.
The other thing is, I'm really glad that we were able to essentially customize your program to better meet your goals after graduation. So that's really good to know as well. The next thing I'd like to ask you is, and you shared a little bit about this, but maybe go a little bit more detail. How would you describe the overall support and access to the resources you received when you were completing your doctorate?
Well, I know that the library was extensive, which made it so much easier to do research, because while I was earning my doctorate, I worked part-time as a professional tutor at a local college. And I would work with students and they'd be looking for some research and they couldn't find it. So I used my access there because they had it, but they would have had to have paid for it. And it was great. The extensive databases that we have access to for writing our assignments and eventually our dissertation. The instructors from day one, my first instructor was Dr. Lisa St. Louis, and it was an amazing experience because I was nervous. I didn't know what I was going to do, but having them in every single class, I can't say that I had even a little bit off teacher. They were always there. They always answered within the time frame. They gave amazing feedback for me. And it just was between that and my FAA, my financial and academic advisor. Sam was amazing. She got me through a lot of stuff that was going on personally, helped me work out my financial aid, helped me work out when I needed to take a short break. And then I was passed on to Joy Rensel, and she held my hand through my chair being changed mid-program and promised me it was going to be okay. Had a rough week, but it was okay, and everything worked out. And I was so pleased with the new chair that I did have. Dr. Robis was amazing. Not that Dr. Becker wasn't, but I understood why he was changing, and there's always somebody there. You just have to ask the questions and not be afraid to ask the questions. You know, like they always say, there's no bad question except the question that you didn't ask. And none of them are stupid and none of them are done. So just all around the support from my academic enrollment advisor that answered probably, I'd say about 200 questions before I finally said, yes, I'll sign the papers. And because I need to know everything up front, and that's just the way I've always been. And those unknowns make me crazy. So that was amazing from start to finish. Even with the transition at the end, got all my questions answered as the school changed over. So I'm really looking forward to, well, just about a month now. So.
Well, that's excellent. It sounds like you had a lot of people essentially in your corner that were available to you. It was really coming down to saying, hey, I need some help here or some guidance, and they were there to help you. And that chair, I'm so glad the dissertation chair piece worked out for you, because that person is pivotal to really helping doctoral students finish their research.
And then, of course, I did forget, as we talked before, Dissertation Boot Camp. I did attend twice, as you know. The first time I was right at the start of the dissertation sequence. I had just been into, I think, week 2 of my first course. And it was helpful, it was informative, but I felt like I got smacked in the face with a truck the first time because there was just so much. It's so intense, but it's well needed. And I had decided then that I'm going to go again. And when I went the second time, I was just about ready to submit my IRB. And I did that actually the week after.
Oh, and good. I didn't know that. Excellent.
Yeah, the week after the second boot camp, I submitted IRB. And that was a bit of a roller coaster, but we made it through. But when I went that second time, and that's something that needs to be told to students, if they can, they really should try and go that second time, because, and the timing of it, it was great for students that were there that were only in their coursework still, because it's, okay, if they don't like the unknown, that was a great way to find out and get those answers so that you're not, thinking about this black hole that's coming up. And when I went the second time, I was at a better space in my sequence, and everything just made sense. It fell into place. I had more specific questions that I could ask. There was more specific help I could ask for. And with the librarians that were there, and Dr. Menifee and you, it just, it was the best experience. It really was. I almost wished I could have gone a third time, but it would have been after I would have finished. So, sorry.
Well, Mary, we do have students who've told me now that coming a second time, it really helped them digest more. because of that tidal wave, that truck effect the first time. And then I've also had some students wish we had a follow-up. and then maybe that's something we can design a follow-up. But it's good information to share with students in terms of you may want to consider coming twice to really help digest it. If there was one thing you could share with students that was the most powerful for you at the boot camp, what would that be?
It was the one-on-one, and not even just the one-on-one. It was the one to the many, being in the same room with individuals, whether they were at the exact same spot I was in the process or a little ahead or a little behind. That physical contact, that's something that you don't get in online school really, but I would have to say from both boot camps, there's at least 3 people from each one that I am still in contact with today.
That's excellent.
The ones that were ahead of me kind of encouraged me. The ones that were after me, I'm encouraging them. And they're all saying, did this happen to you? Can you tell me how this worked? So I have, I think 3 from the first boot camp that are going to be at graduation. We're all going to be there together.
Excellent.
Which is going to be great. And then I think there's one from Phoenix that was a little bit ahead of me. And one that just finished, I think, on the 25th. So she made the deadline. And another one on the 22nd that made the deadline. So there's going to be about 5 of us. And we haven't seen each other since the 2 boot camps. So it's going to be awesome.
Well, I will find all of you. And we're planning on a little bit of a brief celebration somewhere at commencement. So we'll wait for more information for that. But I wanted to share for anybody listening out there, our dissertation boot camps, we offer 1 a quarter or 4 times a year at different locations across the country. And if that's something you're interested in, which I think Mary and I certainly would highly recommend attendance if you're a doctoral student, that there's actual link to the boot camp experience in the doctoral dissertation centers. So Mary, I want to ask you a couple more things if I can.
Sure.
What was probably the most positive aspect, looking back through the individuals that supported you, the boot camp experience, the resources? What was perhaps the most positive aspect about your academic experience? Whether it was support or accomplishments, or what comes to mind?
I think a lot of it was the support that I got from individual instructors, from my support team, from my financial aid advisors, the 2 times, the support at boot camp. But I think the other part too would be the academics, because it's rigorous, it's hard, but if you put in the work, it can get accomplished, and it can get accomplished in a timely manner. Timing, and because of things with me personally, I had to take 2 B courses. And the biggest thing for me that I could share with others is don't let that pull you down. I wish that you could come up with something other than a C for it, which means continue. But for people like me, and I'm sure others, you see that C and that's an average grade. And it was a mind thing for me at first, and I finally got over it. So the second one was a little bit easier. But the support and the academics, because it tested me, it made me think, it made me put more effort into it, because it wasn't just do this assignment, get the grade, and move on. And the object of this is to finish your dissertation, but you have to have that background knowledge first. And if you don't have it, and what was provided in those courses really set me up to do well when I got to the dissertation sequence.
Excellent. We are in the process of looking at that C grade. So that's hopefully something we want to be changing in the future. So totally understand.
And how about removing it off the transcript?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we can think about that too.
I mean, because I've actually had someone ask me a question. So what was this, what's the RD? And I know it's redo, but then they want to know why.
Yep,
so
exactly.
If they drop it and you get the grade of the new one when you meet the milestones, I wish that could come off of it on the official one, just so that you don't have to do that extra explanation.
Right. So I want to ask you something maybe more on the emotional side. What's it feel like to have a doctorate?
It was very surreal for the first few days. Oh yeah, that is me. And being a female and getting my doctorate, there's also I got to change all this stuff again because everything has Mrs. on it and I can put doctor in front of it. I think it really hit home that first time I got an official piece of mail that had Dr. Mary Duggan on it. And I'm like, okay, it's real, because I didn't have the diploma yet. I didn't have the official transcript yet. So I didn't have, I guess, mentally that proof that I did finish, because you finish it and they say, congratulations, doctor, and you're just, and wait a minute, I did that. And, it's such a great feeling to know that you did something that such a small percentage of the population actually completes. There's many that begin it, but that's still a very small amount. But it's even smaller the ones that actually finish rather than going ABD.
Well, Mary, I can say, knowing you now, even though it was a virtual online doctorate, we do get to know our students, especially ones that come to boot camp and do other activities. And we want our students to stay involved, and I'm sure you will. I'm assuming you're going to feel all of these emotions again at commencement. That's why we encourage our students to attend commencements, because all of a sudden it's real. This is happening. Mm-hmm. I finished this monster. And it's been very, very helpful, and it feels really, really good. So one last question.
Sure.
What do you plan to do with all this knowledge and skills at the doctoral level to go out and help others?
Well, I've already started that a little bit. I've started gathering research. I don't know if you remember, but I came from a business financial MBA background.
Yes, that's right. I do remember,
so
yes.
I don't have all of the education knowledge that everybody would have moving up from the bachelor's to the master's. So I'm in the process of collecting information and research on how to write curriculum. What I would love to do is write a new course that students with learning disabilities who are in college, who are capable of going on to college, that they're required to take, just like a health class or a gym class or a music class, that might meet, it'd be like a half credit, that they would meet once or twice, because a lot of the schools here do block schedules. So maybe on A day and C day, you'd go to this class instead of study hall, and give them, and I'd love it to start at freshman year, because according to the law, they have to start at 16, which is usually junior year. But freshman and sophomore year, I want them to learn how to talk about what's wrong with themselves. Not that it's wrong, but what others might perceive, right, and what their disability is, so that they're comfortable talking about it and saying, I can do that, but I have this and it makes it a little harder. Can I do this? And advocate for themselves and know what supports they need. My research, it was very eye-opening, because the reason wasn't exactly what I thought it was. The reason I thought the problem existed was at the post-secondary level. It really is happening at the high school level. And they're not teaching these kids how to speak up for themselves, because if they have been like my daughter, receiving services since kindergarten, somebody's mom and dad's been talking about them, their guardian's been talking about them, their special ed teachers have been talking about them. They're not learning how to talk for themselves and say, no, this isn't working, or this would work better, or I need this and this and this, so that when they get to college, they can have those conversations with their instructors. They can have their conversations with the Office of Disability Services person. And it would make things a lot easier, because they're just looking at a piece of paper and documents. The other thing I want them to know is, what documents do they need? Who do I have to go see? What do I have to talk to them about? And then the last semester of their senior year, I also want to pull in, as part of that program, who do they talk to when they go for that job? The HR person. How do I ask for that 504 so that I get the accommodations I'm entitled to and not get discriminated against, or I lose the job because I didn't tell them, if you want me to finish this project, I can do it, but I need extra time, or I need something to read it to me, or whatever their accommodations are. And they need to know how to talk to those people as well. And if they wait until they go to college is not going to have a course for that and tell them how to do it. And there's not going to be somebody there or the disability services person to tell them, you need to do this when you go to HR and you need to bring them these documents. So that's the ultimate goal. And if I don't get too old too quick, I would love to see revisions to the 2 laws that guide all of this at the post-secondary level. The ADA has not been updated in over 15 years, and the last updates were only for people in the workplace, nothing for education. Same thing with the Rehabilitation Act, which was originally in 1973, but the last time that had any changes too was, I believe, 2004. So everything is 15, 20 years old, and nothing addressed education.
And the world has changed drastically, and it keeps changing so fast. So Mary, sounds like you are, well, I know you are very passionate about your research, obviously your dissertation topic. And I believe that passion is not only of interest professionally, but also personally. Mm-hmm. You really want to help these students be successful, not only as students, but also as adults in the working world, and to be able to speak up and advocate for themselves, as well as to have those supports in place for them to be successful. So I can't tell you how proud we are of you. And I know you're going to do tons of great things for others, and you're going to get a lot of self satisfaction and joy out of helping others. But I just want to say once again, congratulations, Dr. Mary Duggan. You've done a super wonderful job. I know you'll stay in touch. And I want to thank you for doing the podcast. And I know we'll stay in touch, and I will see you at commencement.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Riggle. I appreciate it. And for everything that NCU and now NU has done for me to help me achieve this goal that I've wanted for a long time.
Wonderful. Sam, back to you.
Awesome. Andy and Mary, thank you so much for spending time with us today. And Mary, I'll echo what Dr. Riggle said. Having the opportunity to hear your story over the years at boot camps was a gift, but I love the fact that you get to share it with the larger community now. And I am confident, hearing your why at Dissertation Boot Camp is laced through this whole conversation and will continue to serve you long after commencement. So thank you so much. We are proud of you, and congratulations again. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Be on the lookout for additional episodes in the coming weeks from others in the NU community. And until next time.